that. I guess that's pretty true. Mark knows me well.
Turn it toward you.
Yeah. It's pretty true. Mark knows me really well. You have some family you're born into, and you have some family you get to choose. Mark and I've gotten to choose each other. And it is true that people have confused us a lot. But one of the most memorable moments of my life was an early Monday morning. I showed up at the Baptist Standard office, and Mark was already there. We were the only ones in the whole building. This is in West Dallas, where it used to be. We leased most of our building to the printer. We were in an industrial park, and it was still dark outside. And Mark was actually waiting for me. He said, I got to tell you something. I said, okay. He said, I'm going to go to become the associate pastor at Wilshire. And he told me a little bit about it. I think it was Phil's idea first, maybe. I don't know how all that came about. But anyway, and it's true. We both were bald. We both had facial hair. People called me Mark, and they called him Marv. And I told him, I said, I never thought that God Almighty would look down from heaven and get the two of us confused and give Mark this job, which I would We both had hair before we came to the Baptist Standard, and we began pulling it out. So, but anyway, but I'm grateful to get to be with you, and Wilshire is special. And I am, as my wife would say, I am promiscuous with my feeling about friendship, but that's heartfelt, and I take no apology for that. But I am tickled that I began, and I'm ending basically my first month. I actually came and spoke to the senior adult group on Wednesday right before I began, and tomorrow is my first month anniversary of, or actually, I guess it's first week, but anyway, I've been through 4 weeks at CBF and Fellowship Southwest now, and so I'm glad to be back in Wilshire. If I keep this up, I'll have to be at least associate member by the time it's all over. But I want to tell you a little bit about Fellowship Southwest and how it came to be, and then a little bit of what we think we're going to do. Of course, until about Friday or so, I thought I was really going to spend a lot of time working on putting pieces in place on getting this thing started, and now we may spend a whole lot of time on disaster recovery in the coming months, so you never know what will change. But a year ago in June, at the Walker Baptist Fellowship's General Assembly, was in North Carolina last year, the Texas group met. All the states have meetings during this national meeting. And it's really about the only time of the year that a whole bunch of Texans get together because we don't have a state annual meeting in Texas. But Bill and George were the program, and they talked about, and I'm paraphrasing, they weren't this bold, they were more politic in the way they said it, but they basically answered the question, why has Texas CBF always been so pathetically weak? And people think Texas and Baptist, and we're big and we have lots of numbers and that sort of thing, but for the most part, most of the other state or regional organizations have been more largely organized and better funded than Texas CBF. And the Reader's Digest version of that was that in the early 90s, when CBF was getting started, the Baptist General Convention of Texas and the folks that were CBF Baptist in Texas were very congruent. So in many respects, we deferred to the BGCT and didn't try to create duplicate structure and that sort of thing. And more or less intentionally kept it not funded real well and not staffed very vigorously. But about, I guess a little over 4 years ago, Susie Painter left Texas and went to become the executive coordinator for CBF. And so she knows us well, knows the region really well, and really had in her mind early on that we needed to begin to strengthen the work of CBF in the Southwest, and Texas included. And how could we do that? And so I had begun to think about that for quite a while, began to consider how the structure might change, how we might cooperate. I know that sometimes it's anathema to say that, that we're buddies with Oklahomans, but we have a whole lot of culture in life. If you've ever lived east of the Mississippi, you know how much alike we are. And how could we help in the Southwest and to do some stronger things. That's the causative broad background on it. And of course, you all lived through the catalytic part of what got that finally off the ground, and that's what happened last fall at the Baptist General Convention of Texas. And the need, because you all in First Austin and Lakeshore in particular were removed from the convention, there was a specific need to begin to support the ministry students and seminarians that were affiliated with these three congregations that would no longer receive funding from the BGCT. So in effect, those two things came together. But I think a lot of the bigger issues were church life changed, denominational life changed, the BGCT changed in more ways than just kicking y'all out. And so there was more and more increasing need to come alongside CBF congregations out in this part of the world and to help them along. And then the other part of it was that we do have a regional flavor. And we could stand together better if we did something that would be more dynamic by binding together a larger group than just Texas. So Fellowship Southwest was created as a network affiliated with Cooperative Baptist Fellowship that is coming alongside the continuing organizations, the CBF Texas, the CBF group in Oklahoma, and the CBF group in the West. And by the West, I mean everything from Tatum, New Mexico to the Pacific Ocean. It's a big chunk. And so that got launched officially the 1st of August. And it is a group that is designed also to spread beyond that, because we already along the border have work on both sides of the border, and so there's already a strong and resonant relationship with some Baptists in Mexico, and many relationships that go even further down into Latin America. And so there's a great potential in that regard.